What if walls could tell stories? Imagine standing in the depths of a prehistoric cave, surrounded by shadows dancing on ancient walls. Each stroke, each pigment, every carefully placed handprint is more than just primitive art. It's a window into the intimate universe of our ancestors. These caves hold secrets that have survived tens of thousands of years. They whisper tales of hunts under starlit skies, of sacred rituals performed by firelight, and of human minds awakening to the power of symbolic expression. When we look at these paintings today, we're not just seeing images, we're witnessing the birth of human consciousness and creativity. Think about it. In these dark chambers, our ancestors created the first art gallery, the first cinema, the first stories ever told through images. They used the natural contours of rock walls to give life to their visions, creating movement and depth that would not be rediscovered for millennia. This is more than just art history. This is your history, our history, the story of how humans first learned to share their inner world with others. Every ochre handprint, every painted bison, every abstract symbol is a message sent across time, waiting for us to decode its meaning. Today, we invite you on an extraordinary journey back to humanity's creative dawn. We'll explore the depths of these ancient galleries, decode their mysterious meanings, and discover how our ancestors first learned to speak through art. Get ready for a journey to the heart of humanity's earliest expression. Like this video and subscribe to the Dawn of Humankind channel to unravel the mysteries of prehistoric art. Together, we'll explore the caves where our ancestors first learned to dream in color. Cave art emerged during the Upper Paleolithic era, approximately 40,000 years ago, marking a revolutionary moment in human history. This wasn't just the birth of art, it was the dawn of symbolic thinking and cultural expression that would forever change our species' trajectory. During this time, Earth was in the grip of the last ice age. Our ancestors faced extreme challenges, with temperatures dramatically colder than today. Across Europe, vast ice sheets shaped the landscape, while megafauna like woolly mammoths and cave bears roamed the plains. It was in this harsh environment that human creativity flourished in an unprecedented way. The Upper Paleolithic period witnessed an explosion of innovation. For the first time, humans began creating sophisticated tools, developing complex hunting strategies, and most importantly, expressing themselves through art. This period is often called the Great Leap Forward or the Creative Explosion because of the sudden appearance of symbolic behavior and artistic expression. These early artists were anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, who had gradually spread across Europe, replacing or interbreeding with Neanderthal populations. They possessed cognitive abilities identical to our own, and their art demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of their world. The emergence of cave art coincided with major social developments. Humans were forming larger, more complex social groups, developing advanced hunting techniques, and creating the first trading networks. Art became a crucial tool for preserving and transmitting knowledge, beliefs, and cultural identity across generations. This wasn't just about making pretty pictures on cave walls. These early artists were developing the first complex symbolic systems, the predecessors of written language. They were creating a visual vocabulary that could communicate complex ideas, emotions, and experiences across time and space. Through their art, they were essentially inventing the first form of long-term cultural storage, preserving their knowledge and beliefs for future generations. The appearance of cave art marks the moment when our ancestors began to think abstractly, to create symbols, and to understand that marks on a surface could represent something else, a cognitive leap that would eventually lead to writing, mathematics, and all forms of symbolic communication we use today. This was truly the birth of human culture as we know it, the moment when our species first began to leave deliberate marks of their existence, their thoughts, and their understanding of the world around them. These weren't just drawings, they were the first steps toward becoming the symbolic, culture-creating species we are today. Picture yourself deep within a limestone cave, where the only sounds are the gentle drip of water and the soft crackle of flames. Here, illuminated by the flickering light of a carefully maintained fire, a young Paleolithic artist prepares for their sacred work. This is not just any ordinary day, it's a moment of creation that will echo through millennia. Our artist, perhaps a 15 or 16-year-old member of their clan, has been chosen for this important task. They learned their craft through careful observation of elder artists, inheriting knowledge passed down through countless generations. Their hands are stained with ochre, a testament to years of apprenticeship in the art of pigment preparation. In the dancing firelight, They carefully crush minerals gathered from specific locations, sometimes days of travel away. Red ochre, yellow iron oxide, and manganese black are ground into fine powder using stone tools. With practiced movements, they mix these precious pigments with various binders, their own saliva, animal fat, or the viscous liquid from crushed plant matter. Each recipe is a closely guarded secret, passed from master to apprentice. Their tools are surprisingly sophisticated. Hollow bones serve as primitive spray pipes, allowing them to create delicate outlines and subtle shading. Carefully selected animal hair brushes, bound with sinew to wooden handles, wait to be used. Pieces of charcoal stand ready for sketching initial outlines. Small stone lamps, filled with animal fat and using moss or lichen as wicks, will provide portable lighting as they move deeper into the cave. But this artist is more than just a craftsperson. They are likely a spiritual intermediary, someone who can bridge the world of the living and the spirit realm that their people believe exists beyond the cave walls. The act of painting is not merely artistic expression, it's a form of communion with the spirit world, a ritual as sacred as any prayer. Their knowledge extends beyond art. They understand the behaviors of the animals they paint, having spent countless hours observing them during hunts. They know which plants yield the best binding agents, which stones produce the most vibrant colors, and how to prepare surfaces by scraping away loose rock and mineral deposits. As they prepare to paint, they might chant or perform specific rituals. Perhaps they've fasted for days in preparation for this sacred task. Their community waits outside or in nearby chambers, ready to witness the creation of new images that will join the existing gallery of their ancestors' work. The air grows thin and heavy as they venture deeper into the cave system, their small lamp casting eerie shadows on walls that seem to breathe in the flickering light. They know exactly where they will paint, a spot chosen carefully, perhaps where the natural contours of the rock suggest the form of an animal, or near other important images created by their predecessors. This artist carries not just their tools and pigments, but the weight of their entire culture's spiritual and artistic tradition. Their work will become part of a vast tapestry of images that will endure for tens of thousands of years, speaking across time to tell us their stories, their beliefs, and their understanding of the world around them. Through their eyes, we glimpse a world where art, spirituality, and survival are inseparably intertwined, where every brushstroke is both a prayer and a statement of existence, declaring to future generations, "We were here, we understood, we created, we believed." Let's embark on a journey through Europe's most remarkable prehistoric art galleries, each one a testament to human creativity and expression. Discovered in 1940 by 4 teenagers following their dog, Lascaux has earned its nickname as the Museum of Prehistory. This magnificent cave complex contains over 600 animal paintings and 1,500 engravings, created approximately 17,000 years ago. The most spectacular section, known as the Hall of Bulls, features aurochs and horses in stunning detail, some reaching lengths of 17 feet. The artists of Lascaux demonstrated remarkable technical sophistication, using natural rock contours to create three-dimensional effects and developing complex color gradients from natural pigments. The cave's famous crossed bison showcase early attempts at depicting movement and perspective, techniques that wouldn't be seen again until the Renaissance. Located in northern Spain, Altamira represents the pinnacle of Paleolithic art. Discovered in 1879, its polychrome ceiling earned it the title Sistine Chapel of Prehistoric Art. The most spectacular feature is the Chamber of Polychromes, created around 14,000 years ago, displaying dozens of life-sized bison in various poses. What makes Altamira extraordinary is the artist's use of the cave's natural rock formations. They incorporated bulges and recesses in the ceiling to give their paintings a three-dimensional quality. The rich red and black pigments remain vibrant after thousands of years, creating startlingly lifelike images of bison, horses, and deer. Discovered in 1994, Lascaux Cave represents the oldest known and best preserved cave art in the world, dating back an astonishing 32,000 to 36,000 years. The technical sophistication of its artwork revolutionized our understanding of prehistoric human capabilities. Lascaus's walls feature over 1,000 images, including the only known prehistoric depictions of certain species like panthers, hyenas, and rhinoceros. The famous panel of horses shows multiple horses in dynamic poses, suggesting movement through overlapping figures, a technique previously thought to have originated much later in human artistic development. The cave's pristine condition allows us to see details often lost at other sites. Finger traces in clay walls, footprints preserved in ancient mud, and even the charcoal marks used to sketch initial outlines. The artists used techniques like stump drawing, smudging, and deliberate shading to create sophisticated visual effects. Other notable sites: the Font de Gaume cave in France, featuring rare polychrome paintings; the Bhimbetka rock shelters in India, showing continuous human occupation over 100,000 years; the Magura cave in Bulgaria, containing unique prehistoric calendar drawings; the Cueva de las Manos in Argentina, famous for its striking hand stencils. These sites aren't just archaeological treasures, they're the first chapters in humanity's artistic journey. Each cave tells its own story, preserving the visions and techniques of our ancestors who first dared to make their mark on the world. Which prehistoric image fascinates you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Whether it's the dynamic horses of Chauvet, the majestic bison of Altamira, or the mysterious symbols of Lascaux, we'd love to hear what speaks to you across the millennia. The technical sophistication of our Paleolithic ancestors reveals an extraordinary understanding of both materials and artistic methods. Let's explore the remarkable techniques and materials they developed to create their enduring masterpieces. Red ochre, the most commonly used pigment, was extracted from hematite-rich soil and rocks. They discovered that heating ochre at different temperatures produced various shades from yellow to deep red. Black was created from charcoal or manganese dioxide. White came from kaolin clay or ground calcite. They even produced rare colors like purple by mixing different mineral powders. The preparation process was meticulous. Raw materials were carefully chosen and ground into a fine powder using stone mortars. These powders were then mixed with binders to create durable paints. The binders included animal fats and bone marrow, natural plant oils, blood and egg yolk, water and saliva, as well as tree sap and vegetable juices. The artist's tool set was surprisingly diverse and sophisticated. Hollow bones served as primitive airbrushes, allowing them to create fine lines and subtle gradients. Brushes made from animal hair and bound with sinew were used for more detailed work. Moss and lichen pads helped in applying broad areas of color. Pointed sticks were ideal for engraving and intricate details, while stone scrapers prepared surfaces for painting. For mixing pigments, they used containers crafted from shells or hollow stones. Surface preparation was a critical step in their artistic process. Before painting, they scraped away loose materials, cleaned surfaces with water, and sometimes applied a base layer of color. They also utilized the natural rock features to enhance their work, incorporating bulges and cracks to define animal forms and create depth. One of their most innovative techniques was blow painting. Pigments were placed in the mouth or in hollow bones, and by blowing the pigment onto the wall, they achieved soft, diffused edges, subtle gradients, and delicate outlines. This method was particularly effective for creating negative space images, such as hand stencils. They also mastered stamping and stenciling techniques. Hand stencils were created by blowing pigment around hands placed against the wall. Pad printing was done using animal fur or moss soaked in pigment, while finger dots and lines were made by dipping fingers in paint. Geometric patterns were achieved using natural objects as stamps. Their understanding of motion and perspective was remarkable. By overlapping figures, they suggested movement, while multiple legs or heads added animation to their depictions. They skillfully used the natural contours of the rock to enhance the sense of movement, and even created sequential images that seemed to come alive in the flickering firelight. Color mixing and layering were other areas of sophistication. Artists combined different minerals to create new shades, layered colors for added depth and texture, and used varied pigment densities to achieve unique effects. Wet pigments were blended to create smooth gradients. Special effects were another hallmark of their work. By scraping away paint, they created highlights, while different binders gave the pigments varied textures. Torch smoke was used to add shadowing effects, and natural rock crystals were incorporated for a sparkling effect. This meticulous process showcases not only the skill and creativity of these early artists, but also their profound understanding of materials, techniques, and the natural environment. These techniques weren't just artistic choices. They were the result of generations of experimentation and knowledge passed down through oral tradition. The sophistication of these methods challenges our preconceptions about prehistoric humans' capabilities, revealing them as innovative artists who understood their materials deeply and could manipulate them with remarkable skill. The durability of their work, surviving tens of thousands of years, testifies to their technical mastery. Many of these paintings remain vivid today, having outlasted countless later artworks created with more advanced materials, proving that these ancient techniques were not primitive, but remarkably sophisticated and effective. Behind every ochre handprint and painted bison lies a complex web of meanings, carefully crafted by our ancestors to communicate their deepest understanding of the world. These images were far more than mere decoration. They were sophisticated systems of knowledge preservation and spiritual expression. The detailed depictions of animals weren't simply artistic observations. Each painted creature represented a complex repository of hunting knowledge. When our ancestors painted a bison, they included vital information about the animal's behavior, vulnerabilities, and seasonal patterns. These images served as educational tools, teaching young hunters about their prey's anatomy and movement patterns. The hunting scenes often depicted specific strategies and techniques. Some paintings show animals in particular poses that indicate their weak points or show how hunters approached their quarry. These weren't just historical records. They were practical hunting manuals that preserved and transmitted crucial survival knowledge across generations. Many scenes appear to document important ritual moments. Figures wearing animal masks or headdresses suggest ceremonial activities, perhaps depicting shamanic transformations or initiation rites. These images likely served as both records of past ceremonies and instructional guides for future ritual performances. The cave walls became the first history books of humanity. Sequential images often tell complex stories, preserving tribal myths and historical events. Some panels appear to document migrations, conflicts, or significant natural events that shaped the community's history. These narrative sequences might record creation stories, explaining how the world came to be or how certain animals received their characteristics. Other scenes appear to document meetings between different groups, possibly recording trade relationships or tribal alliances. The placement of images within caves wasn't random. Certain stories were deliberately positioned in specific locations, creating sacred spaces where the act of viewing the art might have been part of the storytelling ritual itself. The journey through the cave could have represented a journey through the tribe's collective memory and history. Perhaps most profoundly, these paintings represented our ancestors' deep spiritual connection with the natural world. Many images suggest a worldview where the boundary between human and animal realms was fluid and permeable. The frequent depiction of therianthropes, beings that are part human, part animal, speaks to a belief system where humans could spiritually transform into animals and vice versa. The cave itself was likely viewed as a sacred space, a liminal zone between the physical and spiritual worlds. The act of painting may have been seen as a form of communion with animal spirits or ancestors. Some researchers suggest that the flickering light of torches would have made these images appear to move, creating an early form of spiritual animation that enhanced the mystical experience. Handprints found in caves might represent more than simple signatures. They could be marks of spiritual presence, attempts to connect with the power of the cave, or to leave a permanent link between the individual and the sacred space. Abstract symbols accompanying many scenes might represent spiritual concepts, vision experiences, or states of consciousness achieved during ritual practices. The paintings also suggest a sophisticated understanding of ecological relationships. Animals are often shown in groups or in relation to other species, indicating an awareness of environmental interconnections. This wasn't just scientific observation, it was a spiritual understanding of nature's web of relationships. These ancient galleries were living spaces of memory, knowledge, and spirit. They were places where the physical and spiritual worlds merged, where stories were told and retold, where knowledge was preserved and transmitted, and where the profound connection between humans and their environment was celebrated and maintained. When we view these paintings today, we're not just seeing ancient art, we're witnessing the birth of human spiritual and cultural expression, a testament to our species' enduring need to make meaning of our existence and share it with future generations. This complex intersection of practical knowledge, historical record, and spiritual expression makes cave art one of humanity's most significant achievements, marking our emergence as creatures of symbol and story, forever changing the way we relate to our world and to each other. Journey with us through some remarkable discoveries that challenge everything we thought we knew about prehistoric art. Long before the Greeks claimed to have invented perspective in art, Paleolithic artists were already mastering complex visual techniques. Deep within caves like Chauvet and Lascaux, our ancestors created intricate artworks that depicted depth, movement, and perspective. These techniques, lost to time, would not be rediscovered until the Renaissance, more than 30,000 years later. These early artists achieved the illusion of depth by making distant animals appear smaller than those closer, using natural rock contours to enhance three-dimensional effects, overlapping figures to suggest spatial relationships, and manipulating shadow and light with varied pigment density. The pigments used by these ancient artists have survived over 40,000 years, retaining much of their original vibrancy. Scientists have uncovered the advanced chemical processes these painters employed, such as heating ochre to precise temperatures to achieve different hues, crafting binders resilient to cave humidity, and producing multiple shades of the same color for subtle gradients. They even used charcoal in ways that prevented smudging over millennia, showcasing their profound technical knowledge. Perhaps most astonishing is the evidence that Paleolithic artists may have been the world's first animators. They created drawings of animals with multiple legs to simulate movement, positioned images to interact with flickering torchlight, and crafted sequential images that seemed to move when viewed in succession. By skillfully integrating the natural contours of cave walls, they further enhanced the sense of motion, creating a dynamic and immersive visual experience. These artists also demonstrated remarkable ingenuity with their tools and techniques. Hollow bones were used as spray pipes for detailed work. Stone lamps fueled by animal fat provided consistent lighting, and scaffolding systems allowed them to reach high cave walls. They fashioned brushes from animal hair and plants, blending functionality with creativity to achieve precision in their art. What's more, the pigments used in some cave paintings came from sources hundreds of miles away, pointing to complex trade networks. This reveals a culture of shared knowledge and collaboration, where different groups exchanged materials, techniques, and ideas across vast distances. Technical knowledge was transmitted, and communities worked together on artistic endeavors that transcended geographical boundaries. Recent discoveries have added yet another dimension to the significance of these caves. Many painted sections correspond to areas with exceptional acoustics, suggesting that these spaces were carefully chosen for their sound properties. Musical instruments found within some of these caves hint at immersive ritual experiences, combining sound, art, and possibly storytelling into a unified sensory event. Beyond their artistic achievements, these early humans demonstrated a keen understanding of the natural world. Some cave paintings include representations of star constellations and geometric patterns that align with lunar cycles, suggesting a rudimentary knowledge of astronomy. Certain images align with solstice light, indicating that these artworks may have served as calendars or markers of seasonal change. Their scientific knowledge extended to detailed depictions of the natural world. Cave artists captured the anatomical precision of animals, their seasonal behaviors, mating rituals, migration patterns, and habitat preferences. These observations reveal not just artistic talent, but also a deep connection to and understanding of their environment. Their use of color reflects a sophisticated grasp of advanced principles. They created intricate palettes from natural materials, used complementary colors for visual impact, and mastered blending techniques to create gradients and textures. They even understood how different surfaces would affect the appearance of color, adjusting their approach accordingly. Without the benefit of modern science, these artists developed weather-resistant paints that adhered to rock surfaces and lasted for millennia. They manipulated pigment viscosities for varied effects, producing artworks that continue to captivate us today. Finally, the human touch is perhaps the most personal aspect of these ancient masterpieces. Every handprint tells a story, with some revealing missing fingers or distinctive shapes that allow us to identify individual artists. Children's handprints show that art was a communal activity, involving all members of society. Certain handprints display evidence of ritual decoration or painting, further emphasizing the cultural and spiritual significance of these works. Through their ingenuity, creativity, and deep understanding of the world around them, these early artists left behind a legacy that continues to awe and inspire, reminding us of the shared humanity that connects us across the ages. These fascinating discoveries continue to emerge as new technologies allow us to study cave art in greater detail. Each finding reinforces the remarkable sophistication of our Paleolithic ancestors and challenges our assumptions about prehistoric human capabilities. Their achievements stand not just as art, but as testimony to human innovation and creativity across the ages. These weren't primitive people making simple marks. They were sophisticated artists and technicians whose work would influence human expression for millennia to come. Their understanding of perspective, movement, and visual storytelling laid the groundwork for all artistic expression that would follow. When we stand before these ancient cave paintings, we're not merely observing prehistoric art. We're witnessing humanity's first universal language, a visual symphony that has resonated through the corridors of time for over 40,000 years. These marks on stone walls represent far more than simple drawings. They embody humanity's first attempts to capture thoughts, dreams, and experiences in a permanent form. Through these images, our ancestors broke the barriers of time, sending messages that would echo through millennia. They transformed blank cave walls into galleries of human consciousness, creating the world's first social media, a way to share experiences, knowledge, and beliefs across generations. What makes these cave paintings truly remarkable is their universal accessibility. Whether viewed by a modern art critic or a person from a different ancient culture, these images speak a language that transcends cultural and temporal boundaries. A charging bison painted 30,000 years ago creates the same sense of power and movement today as it did when it was first created. A handprint pressed against a cave wall still reaches out to us across time, a timeless gesture of human presence and creativity. These ancient galleries mark the moment when our species first developed the ability to represent the world through symbols and images. This cognitive leap would eventually lead to writing, mathematics, and all forms of symbolic communication we use today. In these caves, we see the first sparks of the human capacity for abstract thought and symbolic representation, the very qualities that define our species. The technical sophistication of these artworks reveals the extraordinary innovative capabilities of our ancestors. They developed complex tools, created lasting pigments, understood perspective and movement, and used natural cave features to enhance their art. These achievements challenge our preconceptions about prehistoric humans and remind us that innovation and creativity have always been fundamental to human nature. Today, as we use digital tools to create and share images across the globe, we're continuing a tradition that began in those ancient caves. From prehistoric handprints to modern digital art, human beings have never stopped seeking ways to express themselves visually, to share their experiences, and to leave their mark on the world. These caves represent more than historical sites. They are sacred spaces where humanity first discovered its creative voice. In their depths, our ancestors first learned to transform their inner visions into external reality, to share their experiences with others, and to preserve their knowledge for future generations. As we face contemporary challenges and rapidly evolving forms of communication, these ancient artworks remind us of our enduring human need to create, to share, to teach, and to leave lasting marks of our existence. They show us that art isn't just decoration, it's a fundamental way of being human. Each generation adds its own chapter to this ongoing story of human creativity. From cave walls to canvas, from chisel to digital stylus, the tools may change, but the essential human drive to create and communicate remains the same. Did this journey through time change your perspective on human creativity and expression? Share this video with someone who appreciates the power of art to connect us across time. Subscribe to continue exploring humanity's greatest achievements, and leave a comment sharing what these ancient artworks mean to you. Remember, every time you create something, whether it's a digital artwork, a photograph, or a simple doodle, you're participating in a tradition that began over 40,000 years ago in the depths of prehistoric caves. You're part of humanity's ongoing creative journey, adding your own voice to this timeless conversation. Let's honor our artistic ancestors by continuing their legacy of innovation, expression, and creative exploration. Together, we'll keep writing new chapters in the extraordinary story of human creativity. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to join us on more fascinating journeys through human history and achievement. Your engagement helps us continue sharing these remarkable stories with the world.